All right, I am doing a live photo walk. I am in Indianapolis, and I had a little bit of time this morning before I had a meeting for a photo shoot, so I thought I'd come out and look for some good photos, do a little photo walk. So I'm in Indianapolis, I'm near Butler University. I mean, like a couple miles, and there's this little part of town that has these little like shops and stuff. So it's near North Side. So I'm about, I don't know, 10 minutes from downtown Indianapolis. And I had a meeting this morning at Butler University, and I thought I would come and see what kind of photos I could find, take some pictures in a different part of town I'm not usually in. So it's, I didn't look to see what time the sunrise technically was, but not usually in. So it's, I didn't look to see what time the sunrise technically was, but I really like photography, and you want to be good at photography. You can't wait. You can't wait for those vacations. You can't wait to, go to the national parks, go to the beach, go to the mountains. Like, you got to take pictures as often as you can if you really want to be a good photographer. So I try to get out and do a photo walk at least once a week where I don't have any specific, goals. It's just maybe documenting the world around me. And so whenever I see like a point of interest, like, the truck there, the color obviously stands out. You don't always see something. I look for things out of the ordinary. A truck here is a little out of the ordinary, maybe not a lot. And just see if there's any way I can frame it up through something I'm looking at. Maybe you can see, just to add some visual interest, to add some framing. So that's one way to take kind of everyday scenes and make them more interesting. Is, can you frame through something like this? And if you see on the right side, the street on the right side of the frame there, it's basically empty space. So what I'll do, and I think I already got this really, I'll wait for a car or something to come through there just to kind of add another level of visual interest. And here comes one. And maybe if I had a hand free, I'd do something like a slower shutter speed to get some motion blur through there to kind of add some interest. What the hell, let's try it. This is what this is about, right? That's not really slow. Best camera for doing YouTube. You mean like to do like a live broadcast? Yeah, I use Fujifilm. I'll show my camera here. This is my camera that I use for photo walks. It's a Fujifilm X-T20, and the lens is a 23mm f2. It's nice and compact, and the image quality is really good. So yeah, I might do like something like this. It's a little bit darker on the screen than what you're seeing. I lose a lot of the contrast in the live broadcast. So I'll wait for one more to come through here. So we'll see how. Usually I'm shooting with two hands, which lets me hold the camera still when I'm doing a slower shutter speed, but trying to do it with one hand. It might not be sharp. That's okay. This is just practice. I kind of like this. These primary colors is what stands out to me about the scene. So I have this saying, if you follow me, you'll hear me probably say it a lot, is that shooting color isn't about... color photography isn't about shooting in color. It's about shooting photos of color. So color is like either a subject or it enhances the scene in some way. So that's what I'm doing here. I kind of like the primary colors. And really, if I had a longer lens, looking to isolate some details or something like that would be kind of cool. But the guy who's filling up the gas is watching me here. And then, so I'll start here, and then I might look to see what else I can incorporate. Like, these kind of monster things are quirky, so can I frame it up in a way where I can see all of those things? That's kind of cool. I'm going to change my settings a little bit. So someone asked about film. I have not used film in about 18 years. The last time I shot film was 2004. I shot film pretty regularly throughout college, and then I shot film throughout college. I'm going to try a little bit lower. I kind of like higher on this. And so I was in college between 2000 and 2004, and it was kind of this odd time of like digital was just taking off. So we had digital cameras at the school, but all of the students, we only owned film cameras because, they were prohibitively expensive at the time. And people weren't doing a lot of darkroom unless you were in the art school, and I was in the journalism school. So it was like we were shooting film, but scanning our negatives right away to work with. And so when I graduated from college in 2004, I bought my first digital camera after that because I was trying to get work as a photographer. And it was much more conducive to being a freelance photographer, having digital. And I have not done film since then. And I actually didn't even know people were still doing film so much until about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I made some comment about how long it had been since I shot film, and all these people on Twitter, and all these people responded, "Oh, I just shot film this morning, and I'm going out to shoot film later." And I had no idea that so many people were into it, which I think is great. So, if you're just stopping by, I can say hi here. Hi, I'm Zach Dobson. I'm a professional commercial and documentary photographer. And I just try to do these weekly photo walks to show my process for how I find interesting photos. I like the colors here. These stand out. So, it's kind of an interesting... Again, it's almost like a primary color palette. That red's a little darker than... Thanks for the follows. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you're into photography, that is all I talk about on my channel. I do everything from... So I'll post... So what I'll do with this photo walk, if you want to see the results, I'm going to put this whole live up on my YouTube channel, and then I will... do like a short version. So the live on the YouTube channel, I show my edits. I show my selects from the photo walk in the spots that I take them. And then on here on TikTok, thanks for the follows, appreciate it. On TikTok, I'll do like a minute or so video where I kind of do some of the highlights. I'll show the video clips leading up to the photos that I got from them. I'm just trying to see if there's any sort of reflection here that I like. It's not bad. This is one of the benefits, clearly, to shooting digital is like, I'll just experiment. My first digital camera that I purchased myself was a Canon. Thanks for the question, Teague. Good to see you. Good morning. Was a Canon 20D. I don't know what they're on now, like an 80D or something like that, the last I saw. Canon 20D. It was like $1,600, and my first lenses for Canon were 17 to 40 f4, a 50 1.4, and a 70 to 200 2.8. And I still have that 50 and the 70 to 200. I still use that 18 years later for like my regular client work and everything. So these kind of shops, Anxious Ghost, thanks, I appreciate that. Do a lot of you shoot film? Who here? I know Teague shoots film. I assume Blake Mac 131 shoots film. I'd be willing to like try it again, but I don't even have a film camera. I've actually been seeing if there's any people who want to, any like film companies or photography, like stores or anything that would want to do like a sponsor for all the time. 35 millimeter and medium format. That's fun. I've never shot medium format. I've only shot 35 millimeter film. And when I was a kid, I had one of those little like 110 cameras. But I always thought medium format would be fun. I'd love to try compare and contrast between a medium format film and trying something like the Fuji GFX series or even a Hasselblad with like a digital back or something to see. Now, okay, that's cool. I like that pattern set against the backdrop there. When I do these, it's really about, it's always a surprise. Yeah, I remember those days of being surprised. So when I go out like this, it's just trying to find anything that catches my eye. I think it's important. Hey, good morning. Good morning from India as well. Thanks for stopping by. You probably know this area then. It's kind of a popular spot. I have a meeting at Butler. So I do professionally mostly commercial photography, some editorial. I have a photo shoot tomorrow. Butler University is opening an esports venue. And so I'm going to photograph the venue for the architects. Well, it's actually for the architects for Butler and for maybe some other people too. Thanks for the follow. So I think, especially working in photography, I often have stuff that's specifically, assigned by a client. And so I think it's good to get out and practice and keep developing my own eye and not only be focusing on what a client needs. And I found that when I first started doing these photo walks, the cool thing about this area is it is kind of like a small little town within Indianapolis. It's about, 10, maybe 12 minutes from downtown Indianapolis. It's about a mile from Butler University. So it's like a nice little enclave of little shops and bakery, restaurants. I'll probably walk down one of the neighborhood streets here too to take some photos. There's some cool old houses here, a lot from let's ask the Jonathan, the realty guy here. He'd know what years these houses were built. Some of them 20s, 40s, something like that. But I found when I first started doing these photo walks, I've done so much client work that I was shooting as if I was shooting for myself, as if I was so I do a lot of work in travel and tourism, and I do these photo walks like I'm shooting for a tourism board. And it took a while for me to get out of the habit of trying to shoot for commercial purposes and get back to shooting for artistic intention. So a lot of people ask me on lives about the camera that I use. For my photo walks, I use this Fujifilm X-T20 with a 23mm f2, which with the crop sensor, it's the equivalent of a 35mm lens. So I like it because it's a little bit wide, but it's not too wide. It's also not too tight. Sobro is a great idea. Yeah, I'll add it to my list. I'm gonna do weekly photo walks around town, and when I travel, I'll do them when I travel. I want to be able to set a regular time to go, but it's so weather dependent and dependent on my work schedule. Fujifilm X-T20 is what I use for these. My gear that I use for client shoots is Canon. I have a couple Canon 5D Mark IIIs and a few different lenses. But I love, it is pretty cold. I didn't check the temperature, but I guess it's probably like mid 40s right now. The last time I used a Nikon was when I shot film. I had a couple Nikon F100s. Great camera, loved it. Broad Ripple and Carmel, yeah, they really do. I live in Carmel, so I do a lot of photo walks around there. That's where my one was last week. The Midtown and Main Street area are nice for pictures. There's a lot of visual interest there. I'm gonna walk down. This has some nice color. So something you can't see on the, I'll see if I can show it on my camera here. I kind of like just taking the top of this sign. It has kind of a nice, I like the colors here. Film on Minoltas. Yeah, go ahead, drop your cameras in the comments here. It'd be interesting to see what everybody uses. If this gets annoying to look through my camera, just let me know and I'll do it differently here. But the colors, so on digital, it's always better to underexpose a little bit. So that's what I'm always doing here. And so the color is a lot richer. Let me see if I can replicate what I'm seeing. It's more like this. It's so different between real life and the live here. Yeah, no joke. Steven, I have a 12 Pro and I take pictures on it all the time. The image quality on the cameras are so great that it's like, it's a real tool. It's a legitimate tool. There was a photographer, I'm blanking on his name at the moment, one of the New York Times photographers, got like a second or third place prize in a world photo competition for photos he shot on his iPhone in like, it was like 2010 or 2012 in Afghanistan. So here's a doggy. Just waiting for his owner to come back. Get a couple pictures of the dog here. That's not a bad. He doesn't seem to be bothered by me too much. I kind of wanted to take a little garlic bread. Well, as part Italian, I'm pro garlic bread. I know it's a controversial stance, but oh yeah, the red key. Ooh, oh my God, the red key in the 60s. I can only imagine what that was like. Is that the place? Didn't they film a movie there? Was it Ben Affleck or somebody? I feel like they filmed a movie at the Red Key Tavern. I have not tried a Ricoh GR2. I'm very like 650D. Yeah. Minoltas. Asia, yeah. Oh, I see. Visions of Nico. Is it ideal to move to the States of UK for photography? What are you talking about? To take photos, or are you talking about to study photography? Because honestly, one of the things I talk a lot about in my videos is I'll do like profiles on photographers and stuff, and I am really into finding photographers from outside of the US and Western Europe. I'd love to see the work of Asian photographers, African photographers, South American, just seeing people from all over the place, because I feel like it's for work. Well, that's hard to say. Probably anywhere the market for photography is difficult. You gotta really, it takes time for sure. I kind of like this. Sorry guys, I'm moving you around here a lot. I like the welcome everyone. This might be more of a black and white shot. So something I do too is I try not to bother people too much, but I make sure to know what all the laws are for photography. When you're doing street photography in a place like this, you know, this is all public. I'm right on the street. So photographing reflections and stuff like that is all fair game. So I try not to like get into people's faces or bother them too much, but there's a lot of reflections here. Now I'm going to walk away and then come back here. But let's see. We'll go this way. That's the great thing about areas like this. When they get a little busy, you can find a lot going on in reflections. And I made a video where I'm going to post it on YouTube in the next day or two. So I just did a must-know photographer profile on Georgy Pinkasov, the Russian photographer, and his work is just incredible. Yeah, there's one right here too. I want to try something with Pinkasov's work is incredible, and I noticed while watching looking through his photos, I'm trying something with this here just to see. I like all the lines. How he uses reflection. So I'm making a video about how, well, I recorded it. I just have to edit it now. About how he uses reflections and color and shadows in a specific way to get certain effects. And the thing about reflections is, which is cool, is just the dimensionality. You add so much. I'm just trying something, see if I like it. I don't know. It's kind of plain, but hey, thanks for stopping by, Purple Chaos. You have a great day as well. The Butcher Shop. Okay, you know this area. I think so. Yeah, Kincaid's Meat Market right there. The Fuji I'm using is the XT20 with the 23mm f2 lens. I'm gonna cross the street here. The problem with the touchscreen is that sometimes I the problem with the touchscreen on the Fuji is sometimes I change the focus points when I didn't mean to. Hi. I'm gonna walk down into the neighborhood here and check out a couple of the houses. There's a really interesting house. I love the X100 cameras. Those are what got me into using Fuji. Man, about, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, I was going out of town on a trip and I wanted to send my Canons in to get cleaned. And I wanted just something really small and compact to take on my trip. And I rented, it was the first X100. If you don't know the X100, it's very similar to this camera, but it's in the rangefinder style. And it has a fixed 23mm lens, which is, for a Fuji, the equivalent of a 35. And it was great. I really enjoyed it, enjoyed using it. It was a great camera. And I did the same thing a year or two later, rented the next version of it for a trip. And then I decided to do mirrorless. This is a cool house. Okay, so I would say the way that this is my job is it's part of my it's marketing and social media content. I am a professional photographer. I do commercial work, so I'm getting ready to go meet with clients to do a photo shoot for their esports venue at Butler University. And so that's what my job is. But I do kind of like a documentary. This is an interesting. I do like a documentary style of commercial photography. So I'm slowing my speech while I'm looking through the camera here. I don't know. It's worth a try. I don't know if this will turn out or not, but it's all about experimenting and seeing what you like. It's kind of interesting. So hopefully, I'll be at the point sometime where I can just go around and shoot like this and make content. And then that'll be my full-time work. But I've never tried the stock stuff. I know some people are able to have a lot of success with it, but the stock is you really have to be able to sell it in quantity because a lot of the times the images they're just selling for like, I don't know, $20, $40. No, it's all good. Yeah, I do, Stepdad Scott, I do enjoy digital because it gives me a lot of flexibility to experiment. I can take a lot of photos while I'm out. I was out for 2 hours last week and I took about 400 frames, of which out of the 400, I probably got at least a dozen shots that I really liked a lot, and then a few more that I thought were pretty good. So it was a pretty high yield. I mean, if I was shooting film, even shooting film a little more conservatively than that, I would have gone through like 8-10 rolls of film. This is a crop sensor, so 1.5. So my 23 is effectively, a 34 and a half. Yeah, the morning light is great. It's nice to get a little color in here. Just seeing what else is down the street, deciding if I want to go into the neighborhood a little bit more or back to the shops there. I might go just a little bit further this way and see. Yeah, it's nice here for sure. I probably could technically walk to where my meeting is, but I'm not going to do it. Yeah, that's a good question. Has ever someone yelled at me for shooting their property? Kind of, yes, sort of, one time. But let me preface this by saying I know what all the laws are, so I know how to operate within them. So like, for example, obviously I'm on a public sidewalk right now, and anything you can see from a public place is fair game to shoot. So I can, take pictures of any houses or people walking around or whatever's going on, and that's completely within my rights. I had a situation one time where I was in Cincinnati, and I was in kind of a area of shops and restaurants and stuff like that. And yeah, I try not to photograph people changing in their windows. Yeah. But there was like a bar right at the edge of the sidewalk. And so there was a big like window just like right here. And I was photographing reflections and stuff into the window so I could see inside and outside the window. And somebody came out and told me I wasn't allowed to do that. And they were wrong. I was allowed to do that. I already had the shot I wanted, so I just said, oh, I'm just taking pictures of the reflection, and I left. I don't feel the need to be combative, but if, when pushed, I know what my rights are and what I'm allowed to do, and I'm, operate within that. I don't know. I'm going to walk back down here because I don't have a lot of time. I've probably got about 15, 20, maybe 20 minutes left to walk around. I don't want to get too far into the neighborhood because it's nice, but I'm more interested in kind of these storefronts and things like that down here. I can get more color and reflection and lines and everything like that. So if you're just stopping by, my name is Zach Dobson. I'm a professional documentary and commercial photographer. Try to do these photo walks at least weekly to show my process for getting great everyday photos, because, you know, most of us are, when you're on social media these days, it's, you know, all the photography you see is so just, sorry, I'm thinking while I'm talking. So much of what we see on social media are these like incredible locations that most of us don't have access to on any sort of regular basis. Maybe like once a year we could go out. I'm gonna mess around with these colors here. And so, Carolyn Miller 61, thanks for the follow. We don't have access to all these beaches and mountains and national parks on a regular basis. So if we love photography and love to do it, you know, most of the time we're photographing where we're at. Astro Domo, thanks for the follow. And so if you want to photograph where you're at, you know, it's about finding the beauty and interest in every day, and it's great practice. And I can see myself in that reflection right there. That's funny. It's about practicing. And a lot of times when I do a photo walk, I'll get a couple images that kind of go into my, you know, portfolio, so to speak. I show them frequently. I got a really great one last week. If you go back a few posts, there's this picture of a truck and construction workers. That was just a scene I walked into, and it was beautiful. But a lot of this is practice for, you know, going out and shooting regularly. It's practice for like having these techniques and tools at our disposal when we're out taking pictures. I'm not really, see, this is a good example of, I feel like there should be something here. I mean, that's kind of a neat building. The sky's kind of nice. I like the green of this car. Yeah, Fuji XT20 is what I'm using. Thanks for the likes. Yeah, XT20. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't really come together all that well. If I wanted to, I could spend more time trying to figure this out and find where the angle is. I feel like there's something, maybe it's just like a self-portrait in the mirror. Let's see if I can do a self-portrait. It takes some practice to know how to like line up reflections the way you want. Reflections and practicing framing. So yeah, it is okay to stare when you're with your camera too. Face the building. Yeah. Reading some comments here. Yeah, street photography is a great exercise. Baker Allen, thanks for that. It does. It sharpens your eye, and it's good to get out and walk too. Frankly, like literal exercise. All right, I'm going to come back down this way. I know a lot of people aren't on these lives for a significant amount of time, so I'm going to loop back through this area I walked through. It's a nice little, it's really all neighborhoods right all around here, but there's just this one kind of row of shops and stuff. And I'll see what else I can get here. What's this? I don't know what this is, but I'm going to take a picture of it. Because why not? So when getting out and doing these things, I find, for me, I think it's important not to overthink it. I try not to think about what would make a good photo and just what elements do I see that draw my eye. I don't know if that made a good photo, but it definitely caught my attention. You know, the colors in this post are nice. The details of the staples and the nails and whatever. Yeah, the fire hydrant color is really interesting here. I like a minimal color palette when you frame this up a certain way. Let's see if I can do something with the fire hydrant. So I'll try not to shake you all around too much. I'm looking at all the edges of the frame. It's like, do I want to block out the background? Do I want the background to completely be the tree there? Or do I want to come at an angle and let some of the sky in there and use that as... I kind of like something like that better. I'd like to step back further so I could have... Or I could do like 2 colors. It's kind of interesting. I've got to move the camera to change my camera settings here. So, one thing that I talk about is, I don't have a free hand to do this, is using the full frame. So looking all the way around the edges of the frame of the camera. I've never tried any of the Fujifilm recipes thing. I always shoot in, raw files, and every once in a while I'll try I'll switch to JPEG and do their classic chrome, or I did some pictures in Velvia yesterday. I do live in Carmel, so I take a lot of pictures there. If you see my page, you'll see a lot of pictures around Carmel. Currently, I'm in Indianapolis, on the north side, 56th in Illinois. It's near Butler. I forget what this area is called. I should have looked it up before I started the live here. But, I was over here earlier. This truck is still here. So I look at the things that catch my eye, like this truck. It's so, bright yellow. It stands out there. There's also the primary colors. Okay, Noblesville. I've done some photo walks around downtown Noblesville. The square there is really great area for photos, for sure. It's been a few months since I did one up in Noblesville, but that's a great area. Butler Tarkington, thank you. Thank you, wife. I appreciate it. Yes, across from Rocky Ripple. Maybe I'll walk over by the canal. I've got a little bit of time. So a lot of times I'll start with an element that catches my eye, like that truck. This isn't necessarily an interesting photo. So I think, well, what can I frame it through something? So just framing it through the tree, look like anything. This is a pic. I actually did this picture earlier when I walked through here. And it's good to revisit and look at things at different times of day. You'll see on the right side there's a lot of empty space. So having waiting for a car to come through the frame. This is what I talk about, looking from edge to edge. Who's your daddy? Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. I like to look to see what's in all edges of the frame. So if there's a spot where there's nothing of interest, and sometimes empty space is of interest, but in this case, it's not. It's just a plain street. It's okay. I like to use negative space, but that's not a situation where I thought it worked really well. Good morning, everyone. So this is a nice color reflection here. Let's see if I can get anything with this. Oh, okay. So so TikTok, I guess, puts lives in front of people in your town. There's a lot of people who've stopped by from Indy and surrounding areas. That's I like this color and framing. Yeah, how many people are from Indiana? I saw a few people here mention. You're in Colorado, okay. Yeah, I love Colorado. I haven't been there in a long time. I've connected with some people from Indiana on here. Not a lot. Oh, so this live was in your FYP? That's interesting. I'm going to see what I can do with this here. Just, you know, again, it's kind of, there's something kind of like, you know, rudimentary about this photo, but it's interesting. So what you're seeing is not exactly what I'm seeing. The live stream is a lot brighter. What I'm seeing looks more like that right now. But with digital, I make sure to underexpose so I don't lose the highlights. Because with digital, if the highlights are gone, then that's it, you're done. So I underexpose a little bit. And I'll just bring it up in post if I've got a really contrasty scene. So I don't know, not seeing much else right here. Let's see what kind of, this is kind of an interesting, I don't know. Like I said, I don't overthink it. If something looks interesting, and I do it. That's got kind of a interesting look here. So what's everybody up to today? Is this pre-work morning routine? Scrolling before you gotta get started, or it's interesting to me because I feel like if I get up early in the morning and I go out and do a photo walk, not many people are going to tune in. But the last 2 weeks I've done a early morning photo walk. It's had the biggest audiences. So that's really interesting. Pre-work routine. Okay. Well, I hope you have a good work day today. That's kind of, I like this inside-outside thing going on. This is my pre-work routine for today. So I've been doing professional photography for basically 18 years. And it's a lot of fun. I do mostly commercial now, but I've done everything. I started out in news, so I did newspaper stuff for a while. News, weddings, family portraits, whatever. I do all advertising and editorial stuff now. Okay, lunchtime. Where are you at, if you don't mind me asking? I'm shooting my Fuji Film X-T20 with the 23mm lens is what I'm shooting today. I've got about probably less than 10 minutes here before I gotta check out and go to my meeting. But I do kind of want to walk over to the canal here and see what it looks like. So if you are interested in seeing the photos that I get from this photo walk, there are two things you should do. One would be to follow me on here. I will post like a minute or so video where I show some video clips and then the photos that I got from them. But then also I will post this whole live on YouTube. And I'm doing a lot more content on YouTube now. So, oh great, Ireland, excellent. I would love to visit Ireland. It's high up on my places to go for sure. This has kind of an interesting look. Let's see if I can get anything here. Did you have experience prior to shooting for a new newspaper or local journalism? Did I have experience? I did, because that's what I went to school for. I went to Indiana University through their journalism school with a concentration in photography. And after I graduated, I got an internship at a paper in Delaware, which actually turned into a job pretty much right away. So I worked a few months out in Delaware at a newspaper there. Then I moved to Chicago and did an internship at a paper in one of the Chicago suburbs. There you go, drop a rock in the canal. I'll see if I can find something over here. So I did Chicago paper for a little bit, and then I moved to Indianapolis, and I just called them up, talked to the photo department, and told them, I had experience. Did they need any freelancers or whatever? How about this? I'm gonna go with the stick because it's bigger. So I did have experience. I think if someone were coming from the position of wanting to take pictures for a paper or some sort of publication, and they did not have either a degree in journalism or experience yet, I would say, let's see if I can do this and get a picture of it too. I would do something like, let's see if I can do this and get a picture of it too. I would do something like if I wanted to start shooting for publications and I didn't have experience, is I would get any kind of experience you can get. I would make up my own assignments. I would go out and take pictures at events, because so much of news is like event type stuff. So I would go to like public events, fairs, festivals, city happenings, high school sports. Take pictures at high school sports if you're interested in sports at all. And I would build up a portfolio that way, because that's one of the nice things about photography, is it's more important what you can do. Gotta run across the street. It's more important, they care more about your skills than what your credentials are. So, if you don't have a journalism degree or whatever, but they can see you're a really good photographer, then that's more important. Yeah, I took a picture, God, when was that? Maybe last fall, of somebody pulling a Lime scooter out of the canal downtown. I didn't see how it went in, but they were taking it out. So the same kind of thing, if you want to get into doing any kind of professional photography, if you want to do advertising type stuff, one of the things I did early on, so my degree was in journalism, and I didn't have experience doing commercial work, is I just went to, I don't know, this is kind of interesting. Let's take a picture. I lived really close to an area like this, not this one, but close. And I went to some of the businesses and I said, I'm taking pictures of this district. Can I come in sometime and take some photos? And, of course, everybody said, yeah, they like to have their businesses featured places. And I just went in for an hour or so to, a number of different businesses. And then I had a nice little set of images from small businesses. So there's like a butcher shop, an art gallery, like a, trinket kind of stores, all that stuff. And so I just kind of built up my own advertising portfolio from that, and getting some work and going into other work. I'm using my Fujifilm X-T20 with the 23mm lens. And some of these I already took pictures. Like I took pictures earlier of that neon sign, so I'm not going to replicate it. The butcher shop here. Butcher shops are good for photos for sure. So yeah, I think if you take the time to build up a portfolio, and my advice would be to do it if you want to get paid to take photos. Don't try, and you're building up a portfolio, don't try to think what would people want to buy. Don't take photos with the express purpose of trying to sell them or showing something that you think is marketable. Take pictures of things that you find interesting and that you enjoy. So, if you love music and you want to take pictures of bands, like call some of the local small concert venues, bars that have a lot of bands, and ask if you can come shoot a show. They'll pretty much always say yes. Get to know is there a local band that you like? I mean, it can be like if you're a student, just other students that have a band. Take pictures of them practicing, doing gigs. Just get in with them in some way. And, if they want, offer to do like portraits or something for an album cover or for their social media or whatever. And having that portfolio built up, you start showing it around to people, and you can get all sorts of, you can start to get more work. Bands know other bands. So other bands will see the pictures you did of this band, and they'll be like, oh, can you do that for us? And then you can start to charge money. And, it takes a little bit of time, but, it's worth it for sure. All right. I'm pretty much, I got just another minute or so here, and then I got to check out and head to my meeting. But yeah, pretty much, everybody likes to have good pictures. And so if you just ask to take pictures of the types of places or the types of, people or activities that you want to do, yeah, sure thing. And I've been kind of rambling on for a minute here. But, that's how you do it. The schooling thing, having a degree in photography or art or journalism can help insofar as making connections and stuff. But really what people care about with photography is the work. So the more you get out and shoot and practice and build your skills and experience and portfolio is really the most important thing. I keep coming back by this house. I really like this house. Also, I'm parked really close to this house. So, all right, let me see where I'm at here. Yeah, the fall colors today are great. Okay, I'm going to turn this around for a minute and say hello. So I want to say thank you to everybody for stopping by today. I have got a meeting I got to get to, and I'm going to post this whole live on YouTube with some of the results, and I'll post a shorter one on TikTok to show some of the pictures that I did, so you can check those out. So yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm gonna try to make this a weekly thing. It's hard to schedule at a specific time every day, but usually, thanks. I appreciate you all. Mother Boomer, I love your story so much. Everybody check out Mother Boomer, best storyteller on TikTok, I swear. Thanks so much, and I'll do more of these. So if I can't do a regular weekly time, just check. If you see my videos pop up, click through to my profile. I'm going to try to start putting them scheduled on there so I can say, I'm going to go out Sunday at noon or whatever, local time. Anyways, all right, I got to go. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.